The exit is behind you. That's what Trent Mallory said to me, grinning like a kid who just discovered matches. He stood in the doorway of my office, arms crossed, that CEO smirk plastered across his face like he'd rehearsed it in the mirror that morning. Maybe he had. Trent was the kind of man who practiced his power moves. I looked up from my keyboard, fingers still hovering over the keys. 20 years. 20 years I'd been at this company, building software that nobody else could build, solving problems that made grown men cry, and this was how it ended. With a grin and a cliché. The exit is behind you, I repeated, letting the words settle in the air between us. That's it? That's your line? His grin widened. That's it, Grant. Pack your things. Security will escort you out in 15 minutes. I leaned back in my chair, the old leather creaking under my weight. Should have worn a tie for my funeral, I thought. Instead, I was wearing jeans and a button-down, the same thing I wore every day, the same thing I'd worn for 2 decades while I built this company's backbone. 15 minutes? I said softly. Generous. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Trent's voice dropped, trying for sympathy but landing somewhere around condescension. It's business, Grant. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. Another cliché. Trent collected them like baseball cards. I nodded slowly, then turned to my computer and saved my work. Not because I cared about the project anymore, but because muscle memory is a powerful thing. 20 years of saving before you close. 20 years of being careful, methodical, thorough. Trent lingered in the doorway, waiting for something. A reaction, maybe. Anger, pleading, fear. I gave him nothing but the sound of my fingers on the keyboard, steady and calm. You know, I said, not looking at him, you should have read the paperwork more carefully. What paperwork? All of it. I clicked save one final time, then stood up. Trent was taller than me, but not by much. I'd been a boxer in my 20s, amateur stuff, nothing serious, but enough to teach me how to stand my ground, how to read a man's posture, how to know when someone was about to swing. Trent wasn't swinging. He was too confident for that. I'll have HR send you the severance package, he said. It's fair. More than fair, actually. I'm sure it is. I started gathering my things. Not the important things. Those were already gone, backed up, secured. I'd seen this coming 3 months ago, when Trent started scheduling meetings without me, when the whispers began in the break room, when the founder, Jacob Roane, stopped returning my calls. I'd prepared. I took my coffee mug, the one my wife Marla had given me 10 years ago. It said, "World's Most Adequate Dad," in faded letters. My daughter had picked it out as a joke. It made me smile every morning. I took a framed photo of Marla and me from our trip to Maine. We'd been happy that week. Really happy. The kind of happy that makes you forget about work and deadlines and CEOs who practice their firing speeches. I took a notebook, half filled with sketches and ideas that would never see the light of day. Not here, anyway. That's it? Trent asked, watching me pack. No personal files? No thumb drives? I smiled at him. Really smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach your eyes. Everything I need is already gone, Trent. His expression flickered. Just for a second. Doubt, confusion. Then the smirk came back, confident as ever. Security's downstairs, he said. Don't make them come up here. Wouldn't dream of it. I walked past him, carrying my box of 3 items, and headed for the elevator. Trent didn't follow. He'd done his job. Fired the old guy, asserted his dominance, moved on to the next power play. He probably had lunch reservations. The elevator doors closed, and I was alone. Just me and my reflection in the polished steel doors. 52 years old, graying at the temples, lines around my eyes that hadn't been there 5 years ago. I looked tired. I was tired. But I wasn't defeated. Not yet. The lobby was busy, people moving through with coffee and briefcases and phone calls. Nobody looked at me. Nobody cared. I was just another middle-aged man carrying a box another casualty of corporate efficiency. I walked out the front doors into the morning sun. It was bright, almost offensive. I squinted and kept walking, heading for my car in the parking garage. By the time I got home, it was 11:30. Marla was in the kitchen making tea. She looked up when I walked in, saw the box, and didn't say anything. She didn't need to. We'd been married 30 years. She could read me like a book with large print. "It happened," I said. She nodded. "Sit down. I'll make you something to eat." "I'm not hungry." "Sit down anyway." I sat. The kitchen table was old, scarred from years of use. Oliver had carved his initials into one corner when he was 8. I'd been furious at the time. Now I just stared at those initials and wondered where that little boy had gone. My phone started ringing. I pulled it out of my pocket and looked at the screen. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Different number. Voicemail. Again. 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 Marla set a cup of coffee in front of me. "How many?" I checked the screen. 12 missed calls in 5 minutes. "It's starting." "Good," she said quietly. She sat down across from me, her hands wrapped around her own cup. She was 50, beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with youth and everything to do with intelligence. Sharp eyes, sharper mind. "They'll panic," I said. "They should." My phone rang again. This time I recognized the number. Jacob Roane, the founder, the man who'd started this company 40 years ago in his garage, who'd built it into a tech giant, who'd stepped back 5 years ago and let Trent Mallory take the reins because he was tired of the day-to-day grind. I answered. "Grant!" Jacob's voice was loud, frantic. "What the hell is going on?" "I got fired, Jacob. You should probably ask Trent about that." "I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the software. Our core software, the entire platform." I sipped my coffee. It was good. Marla always made good coffee. "What about it?" "It's registered in your name," Jacob was shouting now. I could picture him in his home office, pacing, probably wearing his bathrobe even though it was almost noon. "Why is our $500 million software registered in your name, Grant?" "Because I wrote it," I said calmly. "Every line, every module, every function, and I filed the intellectual property paperwork correctly. You should have read it more carefully before you signed off." Silence. Long, heavy silence. I could hear Jacob breathing on the other end, fast and shallow. "You can't do this," he said finally. "I already did. 3 years ago, actually, when you were all on vacation in the Bahamas. Remember that? You told me to handle the IP renewal paperwork. So I did. That's fraud. It's not. I filed everything legally. Had a lawyer check it. Everything's airtight, Jacob. You want to see the paperwork? I have copies." More silence. Then, quieter, almost a whisper. "What do you want?" I looked at Marla. She was watching me, expressionless. She knew what I wanted. We'd talked about it, planned for it. This wasn't impulse. This wasn't revenge. This was strategy. "I don't know yet," I said. "I'll think about it." "Grant, please, we can fix this. Come back. I'll fire Trent. I'll make you CTO. Whatever you want." "Whatever I want," I repeated. "That's interesting, Jacob. An hour ago, Trent told me the exit was behind me. Now you're offering me whatever I want." "Trent's an idiot. I never wanted to fire you. But you let him do it." "I didn't know he was going to." "You knew," I interrupted. "You knew for weeks. You avoided my calls. You skipped our meetings. You knew, Jacob, and you let it happen because you were too much of a coward to do it yourself." I hung up. My hand was shaking. Not from fear, from anger. From 20 years of bottled-up frustration finally finding a crack in the dam. Marla reached across the table and took my hand. Her skin was warm, steady. "How many calls now?" she asked. I checked. 41. "They'll keep calling." "I know. What are you going to do?" I looked at her. Really looked at her. 30 years of marriage. 30 years of partnership. She'd stood by me through everything. Late nights at the office, missed anniversaries, forgotten birthdays. She'd raised our son while I built software. She'd held our family together while I chased deadlines. Now she was asking me what I was going to do, and I knew she wasn't asking about the company. "I'm going to make them regret it," I said. She smiled, not a happy smile, a knowing smile. Good. My phone rang again. Trent this time. I let it ring, let him sweat, let him wonder, let him feel for just a moment what it was like to be powerless. By noon, I had 89 missed calls. By 1 o'clock, someone leaked the story to the tech blogs. By 2 o'clock, the stock had dropped 6%. By 3 o'clock, Oliver showed up at my door. Before we go any further, hit the hype button, take a second to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? Oliver didn't knock. He had a key. We'd given him a key when he turned 16, a symbol of trust, of family, of home. Now he used it like a weapon, barging in without warning, without respect. I was in my office, the spare bedroom that Marla and I had converted into a workspace years ago. I heard the front door slam, heard his voice echoing through the house. "Dad! Where are you?" I didn't answer. I was reading through legal documents, making sure everything was exactly as I remembered. Every clause, every signature, every date. "Dad!" Oliver appeared in the doorway. 30 years old, tall like me, but softer. He'd never been an athlete, never been a fighter. He'd grown up comfortable, cushioned by the money I'd made, the stability I'd provided. And he'd grown entitled because of it. "Hey, Oliver," I said without looking up. "What brings you by?" "What brings me by?" His voice was sharp, angry. "You got fired. The whole company's melting down. You're all over the tech blogs. That's what brings me by." I kept reading. The document in front of me was the original IP filing from 3 years ago. Everything was perfect. Every word carefully chosen. Every loophole closed. I'd spent weeks on this, working late into the night, preparing for a day I'd hoped would never come. But it had come, and I was ready. "It'll blow over," I said. "Blow over? Dad, they're saying you stole the company's software." "I didn't steal anything. I wrote it. I own it. There's a difference." Oliver stepped into the room. He was wearing expensive jeans and a polo shirt that probably cost more than my entire outfit. His wife, Brianna, had expensive taste. She'd trained him well. "You need to fix this," Oliver said. I looked up. "Fix what?" "This mess. This whole situation. Go back to work. Give them back the software. Stop being stubborn." "Stubborn," I repeated. "That's an interesting word coming from you." "What's that supposed to mean?" I set down the document and leaned back in my chair. "It means I've been watching you, Oliver. For years. Watching you drift. Watching you take. Watching you expect." "Expect what?" "Everything. You expect everything. Food, money, support, respect, and you give nothing back." His face went red. "That's not fair." "Isn't it? When's the last time you called me just to talk? When's the last time you came over without asking for something? When's the last time you said thank you?" I say thank you. No, you don't. You say, "See you next week," because you assume there will be a next week. You assume I'll always be here, always have food ready, always have money to spare. You assume I'm a resource, not a person. Oliver stared at me. I'd never talked to him like this before. Never been this blunt. I'd always been the patient father, the understanding father, the father who made excuses for his son's behavior. But I was done making excuses. "I can't believe you're saying this," Oliver said quietly. "You just lost your job, and you're attacking me?" "I'm not attacking you. I'm telling you the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, you can leave." "Fine." He turned toward the door, then stopped. "By the way, starting today, Mom should eat her own food. Stop thinking I'm going to support some old woman." The words hit me like a punch, not because they hurt me, because they revealed everything I needed to know about who my son had become. What did you just say? I stood up slowly, carefully. My boxing instincts kicked in. Balance, center, control. You heard me. You're both on your own now. Brianna and I can't keep carrying you. Carrying us, I repeated. You think you've been carrying us. We've been coming over every week, eating your food, putting up with your boring stories. It's exhausting, Dad. And now that you don't even have a job, get out. Oliver blinked. What? Get out of my house, now. Dad, now. I stepped toward him, not threatening, just present, just there. He backed up instinctively, and I saw something flash in his eyes. Not fear, recognition. He'd forgotten, maybe, that I was more than just an old man with a keyboard. He left, without another word. I heard the front door close, quieter this time. Heard his car start, heard him drive away. Marla appeared in the doorway. She'd heard everything. You okay? No, I said, but I will be. She walked over and put her arms around me. I leaned into her, feeling the weight of the day finally settling on my shoulders. 20 years gone. My son turned stranger, my life imploding, but I had Marla, and I had leverage. He'll come back, Marla said softly. He'll apologize. Maybe, but it won't matter. Why not? Because I saw who he really is, and I can't unsee it. We stood there for a long time, holding each other in the middle of the office. Outside, the sun was starting to set. The golden light filtered through the window, painting everything in shades of amber and rust. My phone rang again. I ignored it. They're going to keep calling, Marla said. I know. What are you going to tell them? Nothing. Not yet. Let them panic. Let them scramble. Let them realize what they've lost. She pulled back and looked at me. You're enjoying this. A little, I admitted. Is that wrong? No, she said. It's human. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the day in my head. Trent's grin, Jacob's panic, Oliver's cruelty. Every moment sharp and clear, like a film I couldn't stop watching. Marla was asleep beside me, breathing slow and steady. I envied her. She'd always been able to compartmentalize, to separate emotion from action. It was one of the things I loved about her. One of the things that made her strong. Around 2 a.m, I got up and went downstairs. The house was dark, quiet. I made myself a cup of tea and sat at the kitchen table, looking at Oliver's carved initials in the wood. He'd been 8. Small for his age, shy, always following me around like a shadow. I'd been his hero then, his whole world. When had that changed? When had I stopped being enough? Maybe when he met Brianna. Maybe before. Maybe I'd been too focused on work, too distracted by deadlines and code and problems that seemed more important than bedtime stories. Or maybe he'd just grown into someone I didn't recognize, someone I didn't particularly like. The thought made me sad, but it also made me clear. I knew what I needed to do, not just with the company, with everything. I pulled out my laptop and started writing, not code this time, a plan, a detailed, methodical plan. I broke down every relationship, every leverage point, every weakness, Trent's arrogance, Jacob's fear, Oliver's entitlement, Brianna's obsession with image. By dawn, I had a blueprint, not for revenge, for justice, for consequences, for teaching people that actions have weight. Marla came downstairs around 6, already dressed. She saw me at the table, saw the laptop, saw the look on my face. You didn't sleep, she said. Couldn't. Too much to think about. She poured herself coffee and sat down across from me. Show me. I turned the laptop around. She read in silence, her expression unchanging. She'd always been a better poker player than me. After a few minutes, she looked up. This is going to hurt people. I know, including Oliver. Especially Oliver. She nodded slowly. Good. He deserves it. You're okay with this? I'm more than okay with it, Grant. I'm proud of you. You've spent your whole life being nice, being fair, being the good guy. And where did it get you? Fired by a trust fund narcissist and insulted by your own son. So you think I think you should burn it all down, she said calmly. And I'll help you do it. We spent the rest of the morning refining the plan. Marla had a strategic mind, better than mine in some ways. She saw angles I missed, connections I overlooked. She turned my rough outline into something elegant, something devastating. Around noon, Oliver called. I let it go to voicemail. He called again. Voicemail. Third time, I answered. What? Dad, I'm sorry I was upset yesterday. I didn't mean what I said. Yes, you did. Silence. Then, can we talk? In person? Why? Because you're my father and I want to fix this. I almost laughed. You want to fix this? Interesting. Not, I want to apologize or, I want to make things right. You want to fix this. Like it's a problem. Like I'm a problem. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant, Oliver. And the answer is no. We can't talk. Not right now. When? I don't know. When I'm ready. What about Mom's birthday dinner next week? We're still doing that, right? I'd forgotten about that. Marla's birthday. We'd been planning a big dinner, family only. Oliver and Brianna, Marla's sister and her husband. A quiet celebration. We'll see, I said. Dad, please. Brianna's already sent out the invitations. We can't cancel. Then don't cancel, but don't expect me to cook for 19 people while your wife films it for her Instagram. She does. I've seen her. Every time we have a family dinner, she's taking pictures, posting stories, making everything about her optics. I'm done being a prop in her social media performance. You're being unreasonable. No, Oliver, I'm being clear. There's a difference. I hung up before he could respond. Marla was watching me from the kitchen doorway. What did he want? To fix things, whatever that means. What did you tell him? That I'm not interested. She smiled. Not a happy smile. A predatory smile. What about the birthday dinner? What about it? Are you going to cancel? I thought about it. Thought about the 19 people Oliver had invited without asking. Thought about Brianna and her camera. Thought about being treated like a servant in my own home. No, I said slowly. I'm not going to cancel. I'm going to cook. Really? Really, but not what they're expecting. Marla's smile widened. Tell me, I told her. And as I spoke, I watched her expression shift from curiosity to understanding to something close to joy. When I finished, she was laughing. Really laughing, the kind of laugh that shook her whole body. That's perfect, she said. That's absolutely perfect. You think it'll work? I think it'll destroy them. Good, I said. That's the point. I woke to pounding on the front door, hard, aggressive pounding, the kind that meant trouble. Marla was already awake, sitting up in bed, listening. Who is that? I don't know. I checked my phone. 7:30 a.m., early for visitors. Too early. The pounding continued. I got dressed quickly and went downstairs. Through the front window, I could see a familiar black SUV parked in our driveway. The security guards from the grocery store. I opened the door. The tall one was mid-knock, his fist raised. He lowered it slowly. Mr. Halden, he said, we need to talk. About? About returning company property. We have a court order. He held up a folder. I took it, skimmed the first page. It was real. A temporary restraining order requiring me to return all Apex Technologies property, including intellectual property, within 24 hours. This is bullshit, I said. It's legal, the shorter one said. You can challenge it in court, but for now, you need to comply. Who signed this? Judge Morrison, yesterday afternoon. I knew Morrison. Everyone in tech knew Morrison. He was notorious for siding with corporations over individuals. Trent must have pulled strings, called in favors, paid someone off. Fine, I said. I'll comply. Give me 24 hours. We'll wait. You'll wait outside. I closed the door in their faces and went back upstairs. Marla was dressed now, reading the restraining order on her laptop. She'd already pulled up the digital version. This is weak, she said. Full of loopholes. They rushed it. Can we fight it? We can. But it'll take time, and money, and a good lawyer. Do we have a good lawyer? We will by noon. She made calls. I made coffee. By 8:30, we had a consultation scheduled with Patricia Brennan, one of the best IP attorneys in the state. By 9, we were in her office. Patricia was 60, sharp-eyed, with silver hair and a reputation for destroying corporations in court. She read the restraining order in silence, her expression unreadable. This is garbage, she said finally. Whoever filed this doesn't understand IP law, or they're betting you don't. Can we get it overturned? Eventually, but here's the problem. They filed this on a Friday. No judge is going to hear a challenge until Monday, so for the next 72 hours, technically, you're in violation if you don't comply. What happens if I don't comply? Contempt of court, possible jail time, definitely fines. I looked at Marla. Options? Comply, Patricia said, but strategically. Give them what the order requires. Nothing more, nothing less. And in the meantime, I'll file a motion to dissolve the order. What does the order require? Return of all company property. But here's the thing. The software isn't company property. It's yours. The registration is clear. So technically, you're not in violation. But they're arguing that you used company resources to develop it, which means they have partial rights. Do they? No. But proving that takes time. How much time? Months, maybe a year. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. A year. A year of legal battles, depositions, court dates. A year of Trent smirking in depositions, Jacob playing innocent, the company bleeding money while lawyers argued about commas. There has to be another way, I said. Patricia leaned back in her chair. There is. Negotiate, settle, walk away with something instead of fighting for everything. I don't want to walk away. Then you need to be prepared for war, real war, the kind that destroys lives. I'm prepared. She studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, let's go to war. We spent the rest of the day planning. Patricia filed motions. Marla organized documents. I made copies of everything, backed up files to multiple drives, encrypted data, covered every possible angle. By evening, I was exhausted, mentally drained in a way I hadn't been in years. Marla ordered takeout. We ate in silence, both of us lost in thought. Around 9, my phone rang. Not a number I recognized, but local. I answered. Grant Halden? Who's this? My name is David Worth. I'm a reporter with the Tech Journal. I'm working on a story about the situation at Apex Technologies. Do you have time to talk? How did you get this number? Public records. Look, I'm not trying to ambush you. I just want your side of the story. Trent's been doing interviews all day, painting you as a disgruntled employee who stole company secrets. I think there's more to it. There was, a lot more. But talking to a reporter meant going public, meant committing to this path fully, without the option to back down quietly. I looked at Marla. She nodded. Where do you want to meet? I asked. We met at a coffee shop downtown. David Worth was younger than I expected, maybe 35, wearing jeans and a button-down. He had a recorder on the table and a notebook full of scribbled questions. Thanks for meeting me, he said. I know this is difficult. It's fine. What do you want to know? Let's start at the beginning. How long did you work at Apex? 20 years. And during that time, what was your role? Senior software architect. I designed and built most of the core platform, the software that runs their entire business. And you were fired recently? Yes, by the new CEO, Trent Mallory. Can you tell me what happened? I told him everything. The firing, the smirk, the calls, the intellectual property, the restraining order. I didn't hold back, didn't sugarcoat, just told the truth, plain and simple. David listened, taking notes, occasionally asking clarifying questions. When I finished, he sat back and whistled. That's quite a story. It's the truth. Trent's claiming you stole the software, that you manipulated paperwork to register it in your name fraudulently. He's lying. I have the original documents, I have emails, I have proof. Will you share that proof? With you, or with the world? Both. I thought about it, thought about the consequences. Once this went public, there was no taking it back, no quiet settlement, no walking away. Yes, I said, I'll share everything. The article went live the next morning. It was long, detailed, meticulously researched. David had included quotes from former employees, documents I'd provided, even a statement from a patent attorney confirming that the IP registration was legal and legitimate. The headline read, Tech giant Apex Technologies, accused of firing employee who owned core software. By noon, the story was everywhere. Tech blogs, Twitter, LinkedIn. People were sharing it, commenting, taking sides. Some thought I was a hero. Some thought I was a thief. Most just wanted to watch the drama unfold. The stock dropped another 8%. Jacob called. I didn't answer. Trent called. I didn't answer. Patricia called. I answered. Have you seen the news? She asked. I'm watching it now. Good. Because we just got a new offer. Apex wants to settle. How much? $10 million. Full rights to the software, an NDA, and a public apology from Trent. $10 million. Enough to retire, enough to never work again, enough to disappear. No, I said. Grant, no, I don't want their money. I want Trent gone. That's not... Make it happen, Patricia, however you have to. Make it happen. She was quiet for a moment. Then, you're sure? I'm sure. This is going to get ugly. It already is ugly. Let's finish it. I hung up and turned to Marla. They offered $10 million. What did you say? I said no. She smiled. Good. That night I couldn't sleep again. I kept thinking about the number. 10 million. Life-changing money. Security. Freedom. Everything I'd worked for. But it wasn't enough. Money couldn't fix what Trent had broken. Money couldn't erase the humiliation. Money couldn't give me back my 20 years. Around midnight, I heard a car pull up outside. I went to the window and looked out. The black SUV was back, parked at the curb. But nobody got out. They just sat there, watching. I watched back. Around 3 a.m., they finally left. The next morning, Monday, I got a call from Patricia. Emergency hearing. Today at 2. Judge Morrison wants both sides in his chambers. What for? To discuss the restraining order, and to potentially mediate a settlement. I already said no. I know, but you need to show up. If you don't, they'll claim you're refusing to cooperate. It'll look bad. Fine, I'll be there. The courthouse was downtown, an old building with marble floors and wood-paneled walls. Patricia met me outside. She was wearing a sharp suit, carrying a briefcase that looked like it could stop a bullet. Let me do the talking, she said. If Morrison asks you a direct question, answer briefly. Don't elaborate. Don't get emotional. I'm not emotional. She gave me a look that said she didn't believe me. We went inside. Trent was already there, sitting with his own lawyer, a man in an expensive suit with slicked back hair. Jacob was there too, looking tired and old. Judge Morrison entered. We all stood. He was 70, gray-haired, with eyes that had seen everything and believed nothing. Sit, he said. Let's get this over with. We sat. I've read the filings, Morrison said. Both sides have valid arguments. Both sides are being stubborn. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to negotiate. Right here. Right now. And you're not leaving until we have an agreement. Your Honor, Patricia started. No arguments. Figure it out. He left. The room went silent. Trent's lawyer spoke first. Our offer stands. 10 million. Full release. NDA. No, I said. Then what do you want? Trent's resignation. Public. Effective immediately. Trent laughed. That's not happening. Then we don't have a deal. You're being unreasonable. You fired me in front of my colleagues. You sent security to harass me. You filed a bogus restraining order, and you want to talk about reasonable? That was business. So is this. We stared at each other. I saw something in his eyes. Not fear, not quite, but uncertainty. He was used to winning, used to people backing down. I wasn't backing down. 15 million, his lawyer said. No. 20. No. What's your price? There isn't one. I want Trent gone. That's the only deal I'll take. Jacob finally spoke. Grant, please, be reasonable. Trent is our CEO. We can't just... You can. You own the company. You hired him. You can fire him. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. You're just too scared to do it. Scared? Jacob's voice rose. I'm trying to save this company. Do you know how many jobs are at stake? How many families? I know exactly how many. I helped build this company, remember? I know every employee, every contractor, every vendor, and I'm willing to bet most of them would rather work without Trent than with him. Silence. Long, heavy silence. Finally, Jacob stood up. I need to make a call. He left the room. We waited. 5 minutes. 10. 15. When he came back, he looked defeated. The board will vote tonight, he said, on Trent's future with the company. What does that mean? It means if they vote to terminate him, he's gone. If not, you need to accept the money and move on. And if they vote to keep him? Then we go to trial, and we both lose. I looked at Patricia. She nodded slightly. It was a risk, but it was also progress. Fine, I said. I'll wait for the vote. We left the courthouse. Outside, the sun was setting. The sky was purple and orange, beautiful, peaceful. But I felt anything but peaceful. I felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff about to jump, not knowing if there was water below or rocks. You did good, Patricia said. They're panicking. Will the board fire him? I don't know, but we'll find out soon. The vote was scheduled for 8 p.m. By 7, I was pacing the living room. Marla was on the couch, reading, pretending to be calm. Sit down, she said. You're making me nervous. I can't sit. Then go for a walk. I can't walk. Then stand still and stop pacing. I stopped, looked at her. What if they vote to keep him? Then we fight. We've been fighting this whole time. What's one more round? I'm tired, Marla. I'm tired of fighting. I know, but we're almost done. Just a little longer. My phone rang at 8:15. Patricia. They voted, she said. And? 5-2, Trent's out, effective immediately. I closed my eyes. Felt something break loose in my chest. Relief, joy, victory. What happens now? Now you negotiate the return of the software, on your terms. They have no leverage anymore. What about the restraining order? Dissolved. I'll file the paperwork tomorrow. Thank you, Patricia. Thank me by sending a good review to my website. I hung up and turned to Marla. He's gone. She smiled. I told you. We opened a bottle of wine. Not the expensive stuff, just something decent. We sat on the back porch, drinking and talking and watching the stars. What now? Marla asked. Now we finish this. I go back tomorrow, take control, make sure they know exactly who saved this company. And then? And then we figure out what comes next. She raised her glass. To what comes next? To what comes next, I echoed. We drank. The wine was good. The night was cool. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be okay. But I was wrong. Because the next morning, Oliver showed up with Brianna, and they weren't there to apologize. They came early. 8 a.m. I was still in my bathrobe drinking coffee when I heard the key turn in the lock. I'd forgotten they still had a key. Forgotten or chosen to ignore it. Oliver walked in first. Brianna followed. They both looked angry, determined, like they'd practiced their entrance. "We need to talk," Oliver said. "You could have called. You blocked my number. There was a reason for that." Brianna stepped forward. She was wearing workout clothes, expensive athleisure that probably cost more than my coffee maker. Her hair was pulled back, no makeup. This was her serious face. "We want to talk about the other night," she said. "Nothing to talk about. You were rude," I responded. End of story. "You humiliated us," Oliver said. "In front of everyone. Do you know how many people have asked us about it? How many messages we've gotten?" "Not my problem. It is your problem. We're your family." I set down my coffee cup, carefully, because I wanted to throw it. "You're my son, Oliver. But that doesn't mean you're entitled to respect you haven't earned. And it doesn't mean I have to tolerate disrespect from you. We're not disrespecting you. You told your mother to eat her own food. You called her some old woman. That's disrespect. I was upset. You'd just lost your job. I was worried about money. So you insulted us? That's your response to worry? Attack the people who've supported you your entire life?" Brianna crossed her arms. "This is getting us nowhere. We came here to make peace." "Then make peace. Apologize. Actually mean it. And maybe, eventually, I'll forgive you." "We're not apologizing," Oliver said. "You're the one who should apologize. For that dinner. For embarrassing us." I laughed. Couldn't help it. The absurdity was too much. I should apologize? For what? For showing you exactly how you've been treating us? For giving you a taste of your own medicine? You went too far. I haven't gone far enough. Marla appeared in the doorway. She was dressed, ready for the day. She looked at Oliver and Brianna with the expression she reserved for door-to-door salesmen and telemarketers. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "Trying to talk to Dad," Oliver said. "Without an invitation. Without calling ahead. Using a key we didn't know you still had. It's our key." "It was your key. Not anymore." Marla held out her hand. "Give it back." "Mom, now." Oliver stared at her. I could see the calculation in his eyes. Trying to decide if this was a battle worth fighting. Trying to figure out if he could win. He couldn't. He pulled the key from his pocket and dropped it in Marla's hand. She pocketed it without a word. "Anything else?" Marla asked. "Yes," Brianna said. "We want you to know that we're done. We're not coming back. We're not calling. We're not part of this family anymore." "Okay," I said. She blinked. "Okay? Okay. If that's what you want, I won't stop you. You're not going to fight for us? Why would I? You just said you're done. Should I beg you to stay? Should I grovel? Apologize for something I'm not sorry for?" Oliver looked like I'd slapped him. "You really don't care." "I care, Oliver. I care a lot. But I care about myself and your mother more than I care about your feelings. And if you can't respect us, if you can't treat us with basic decency, then yes, maybe it's better if we're not part of each other's lives." "You'll regret this," Brianna said. "Maybe, but I doubt it." They left, slammed the door. Again. It was becoming a pattern. Marla and I stood in the kitchen, listening to their car start, listening to them drive away. "That went well," Marla said. "Did it? They're gone. That's what we wanted." "I know, but it still hurts." She put her arms around me, held me. I leaned into her, feeling the weight of 30 years of parenting, of trying, of hoping, settle on my shoulders. "He'll come back," Marla whispered. "Eventually. When he grows up. When he realizes what he lost. What if he doesn't? Then we'll be okay anyway." We spent the rest of the morning preparing for the meeting at Apex. Patricia had scheduled it for 2 p.m., a formal negotiation to determine the future of the software, the company, and my relationship with both. I wore a suit. The good one. The one I saved for important occasions. I wanted to look professional, powerful, like someone who knew exactly what he was worth. Patricia picked us up at 1:30. We drove in silence. When we arrived at Apex headquarters, there was a crowd outside. Not a big crowd, maybe 20 people, employees holding signs. Bring back Grant. Trent was wrong. Justice for Halden. I stared. Patricia smiled. Word got out. Turns out you're popular. We walked through the crowd. People clapped. Some shook my hand. One woman, a junior developer I'd mentored years ago, hugged me. Thank you, she whispered, for fighting. Inside, the building felt different, quieter, like everyone was holding their breath. Jacob met us in the lobby. He looked exhausted, defeated, like he'd aged 10 years in a week. Grant, he said, thank you for coming. Let's get this over with. We went to the conference room, the same room where I'd had 100 meetings, the same room where I'd presented ideas, solved problems, built the foundation of this company. Now I was here to take it back. The board was waiting. 7 people. I knew most of them. Old faces. Tired faces. They'd voted to fire Trent. Now they had to deal with me. Let's begin, the chairwoman said. She was 60-something, stern, with gray hair and reading glasses. Mr. Halden, we want to start by apologizing. For the way you were treated. For the firing. For everything. Noted. We'd like to negotiate a return of the intellectual property in exchange for fair compensation and a position at the company. Whatever position you want. I don't want a position. Silence. Then what do you want? Jacob asked. I want a licensing agreement. I keep the IP. You pay me a percentage of revenue. Ongoing. Permanent. What percentage? 5%. One of the board members laughed. That's insane. Is it? Your core software generates $100 million a year. 5% is $5 million annually. Seems fair for the person who built it. We can't agree to that. Then we don't have a deal. And you can try to rebuild the software from scratch. See how that goes. The chairwoman leaned forward. You're being unreasonable. I'm being compensated. There's a difference. We negotiated for 2 hours. They offered 2%. I held at 5. They offered 3. I held at 5. They offered 4. I held at 5. Finally, exhausted, they agreed. 5%. Ongoing. Permanent. Plus full control over any updates or modifications to the software. Patricia drew up the paperwork. Everyone signed. And just like that, I was a part owner of Apex Technologies. Not bad for a guy who'd been fired a week ago. We left the building. The crowd was still there. Bigger now, maybe 40 people. They cheered when they saw me. I waved, smiled, felt like a politician. How does it feel? Patricia asked. Surreal. You earned it. Maybe. Marla took my hand. Let's go home. We drove home in silence. When we got there, the house felt empty, quiet, like something was missing. It was. Oliver was missing. The son I'd raised, the boy who used to follow me around, asking questions, wanting to help, wanting to be just like me. That boy was gone, replaced by a stranger I didn't like very much. You okay? Marla asked. I don't know. You won. The company, the money, everything. I know, but it doesn't feel like winning. What does it feel like? Like loss. Like I gained the world and lost my son. She didn't have an answer for that. Neither did I. That night, I dreamed about Oliver. He was 8 again, carving his initials into the table. I was watching him, angry, but not stopping him. And in the dream, I knew. I knew that this moment, this small act of rebellion, was the beginning of everything that came after. I woke up sweating. 2 a.m. Marla was asleep beside me. I got up, went downstairs, made tea. The house was dark, quiet. I sat at the kitchen table looking at those carved initials and wondered if I'd made the right choice. But it was too late for wondering now. The choice was made. The path was set. All I could do was keep walking. The morning after the contract signing, I woke to silence. Complete, heavy silence. No phone calls, no knocking, no emergencies. Just quiet. It felt wrong. Marla was already awake, reading in bed. She looked up when I stirred. Sleep okay? Not really. Dreams? Memories? Same thing. I got up and went through my morning routine. Coffee, shower, getting dressed. But everything felt mechanical, like I was going through motions without purpose. Around 9, my phone rang. Not a number I recognized. I almost didn't answer. But something made me. Mr. Halden? A woman's voice. Young, nervous. Speaking. This is Amanda from Apex Technologies. I'm calling because Mr. Roane would like to schedule a meeting with you. Today, if possible. What for? He didn't say, just that it was important. I looked at Marla. She shrugged. Why not? Tell him 2 o'clock, I said, at the coffee shop downtown. He was hoping you could come to the office. I'm sure he was. 2 o'clock, coffee shop. If he wants to meet, those are the terms. I hung up. Marla smiled. You're enjoying this. A little. What do you think he wants? Probably to negotiate terms, or complain about terms. Either way, it'll be interesting. We spent the morning doing nothing important. Marla worked in the garden. I read a book I'd been meaning to read for years. Normal things, peaceful things. At 1:30, I drove downtown. The coffee shop was busy, full of students and remote workers and people having meetings. I found a table in the corner, ordered a coffee, and waited. Jacob arrived at 2:05. Late enough to make a point, but not late enough to be rude. He was wearing jeans and a sweater. Casual, trying to signal that this wasn't business, but everything with Jacob was business. Grant, he said, sitting down. Thanks for meeting me. You're welcome, he ordered coffee. We sat in awkward silence while we waited for it to arrive. When it did, he wrapped his hands around the cup like he was cold. I wanted to apologize, he said finally. In person, not through lawyers or emails, face to face. Okay. I was wrong. About Trent, about the firing, about all of it. I got caught up in appearances, in what the board wanted, in what I thought was best for the company, and I forgot about what was best for the people who built it. I didn't respond, just waited. You deserved better, Jacob continued. You deserved respect, loyalty, and I didn't give you that. No, you didn't. I know. And I'm sorry. He looked old, tired, like the weight of his mistakes was crushing him. Apology accepted, I said. But that doesn't change anything. The contract stands, the terms stand, and I'm not coming back to work there. I wasn't going to ask you to. Then what do you want? I want to know we're okay, you and me, that we can move forward, because I'm stepping down, Grant. I'm retiring, and I wanted you to hear it from me first. I set down my coffee. You're leaving? I'm 71. I've been doing this for 40 years. It's time. Who's taking over? The board's doing a search, but I recommended you. I already said I'm not interested in working there. I know, but I still recommended you. Because you're the best person for the job, and because you deserve the opportunity to decide for yourself. We sat in silence. I thought about it, thought about going back, about running the company, about building something new from the wreckage of the old. I'll think about it, I said. That's all I ask. Jacob finished his coffee and stood. One more thing. Oliver came to see me yesterday. My chest tightened. What did he want? He wanted me to fire you, to void the contract, to kick you out. And? I told him no. I told him he needed to grow up and take responsibility for his own actions. And I told him that if he ever tried to manipulate me again, I'd make sure everyone at the company knew what kind of person he really was. How did he take that? About as well as you'd expect. He left angry, but he left. Jacob extended his hand. I looked at it for a long moment. Then I shook it. "Thank you," I said. "Thank you, Grant, for everything." He left. I sat alone thinking about Oliver, about the company, about choices and consequences and the cost of winning. When I got home, Marla was waiting. "How did it go?" "Jacob's retiring." "Really?" "Really. And he recommended me for CEO. Are you going to take it?" "I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me wants to burn the whole place down and never look back." "What does the bigger part want?" I thought about it. Really thought. "Peace. I want peace." She hugged me. "Then find peace, whatever that looks like." The next few days were quiet. I didn't hear from Oliver. Didn't hear from Brianna. Didn't hear from anyone at the company except Amanda, who sent polite emails about contract details and payment schedules. I fell into a routine. Morning coffee, reading, walking, cooking, normal life, the kind of life I hadn't had in 20 years. It was nice, but it also felt empty. On Friday, a week after the contract signing, Patricia called. "We have a problem," she said. "What kind of problem?" "Trent's filing a lawsuit. Against you, against the company, against everyone." "For what?" "Wrongful termination, defamation, tortious interference. He's throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks." "Can he win?" "No. But he can make things expensive and annoying, and he can drag your name through the mud." "Let him try." "Grant, I'm serious. Let him file whatever he wants. I have the truth on my side. I have documentation. I have witnesses. Let him waste his money." "You're sure?" "I'm sure." But I wasn't. Not really, because part of me knew that this wasn't over, that Trent wasn't done, that the fight was just beginning. That night, I couldn't sleep. Again. I went downstairs. Again, made tea. Again. Sat at the kitchen table looking at Oliver's initials, wondering if I'd made the right choices. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You think you've won, but you haven't. This is just the beginning." I stared at the message. It was vague, threatening without being specific, the kind of message meant to scare without providing evidence. I didn't respond, just screenshot it and sent it to Patricia. She texted back immediately. "File a police report, now." I did. The police came to my house around midnight. 2 officers, tired and professional. They took a statement, took the screenshot, told me there wasn't much they could do unless the threats became more specific. "We'll increase patrols in your neighborhood," the older officer said. "And if you get more messages, call us immediately." After they left, Marla and I sat on the couch. She held my hand. Neither of us spoke. Around 2 a.m., I heard something outside, a car engine, idling. I went to the window and looked out. The black SUV was back, parked at the curb, just sitting there, watching. I called the police. They came. The SUV left before they arrived. "Probably just someone lost," the officer said. "Or someone stalking me." "You have any evidence of that?" "No." "Then there's nothing we can do." They left. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, Saturday, I was exhausted, drained. Marla made breakfast. I couldn't eat. Around 10, someone knocked on the door, not pounding, just a normal knock. I looked through the peephole. Oliver. I opened the door. "What do you want?" "I need to talk to you." "About?" "About everything. Please, Dad. Let me in." I should have said no, should have closed the door, but he looked different, smaller, like the weight of the last week had crushed something in him. 5 minutes, I said. He came inside, stood in the hallway, not sitting, not moving, just standing. "I'm sorry," he said. "You've said that before." "I know, but this time I mean it, really mean it." What changed? Jacob called me. Told me what he said to you. About me. About how I've been acting. And he was right. I've been terrible. To you, to Mom, to everyone. I didn't respond, just waited. I don't expect you to forgive me, Oliver continued. I don't even expect you to want to see me again. But I needed to say it. Needed to tell you that I'm sorry, and that I'm going to do better. Better how? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. He looked at me. Really looked at me. And for a moment, I saw the 8-year-old boy again. The one who carved his initials in the table. The one who followed me around. The one who loved me without conditions. But then the moment passed, and I saw the 30-year-old man, the stranger, the one who'd hurt me more than anyone else ever had. I appreciate the apology, I said, but I need time. How much time? I don't know. Weeks? Months? Maybe forever, Oliver. I don't know. You broke something, and I don't know if it can be fixed. He nodded, looked like he might cry, but he didn't. Just turned and left. Marla came downstairs. Was that Oliver? Yes. What did he want? To apologize. Did he mean it? I think so, but I don't know if it matters. She sat beside me. You don't have to decide today, or tomorrow, or ever. You get to take as much time as you need. What if I never forgive him? Then you don't, and that's okay too. I spent the weekend thinking. About Oliver, about Trent, about the company, about choices and consequences and the cost of winning. By Monday, I'd made a decision. I called Patricia. Tell the board I'll take the job, CEO, but on my terms. What terms? Full control, no interference, and if they don't like how I run things, they can fire me, but they won't micromanage. I'll pass it along. And Patricia, I want a clause in the contract. If Oliver ever tries to work at the company, he's automatically rejected. No interviews, no consideration, just no. That's harsh. That's necessary. She was quiet for a moment. Okay, I'll make it happen. I hung up and turned to Marla. I'm going back. To the company? Yes. Why? Because I need to finish this. Not just with Trent. With everything. I need to prove that I can build something better. Something that actually values people. She smiled. Then go build it. The board agreed to my terms. The contract was signed by Wednesday. I started the following Monday. My first day back at Apex Technologies felt like walking into a house I'd once lived in. Familiar, but strange. The same walls, the same floors, but different energy. Different people, different purpose. Amanda met me in the lobby. She was young, maybe 25, with bright eyes and an eager smile. Mr. Halden, welcome back. Your office is ready. I'm not using Trent's office. Oh, we know. We set you up in your old office. Mr. Roane thought you'd prefer that. Smart. Jacob knew me well enough to know I wouldn't want Trent's tainted space. I wanted my space. The one I'd built. The one I'd earned. My office looked exactly as I'd left it, except cleaner. Someone had dusted, organized, even replaced the coffee mug I'd taken home with an identical one. I sat at my desk. The chair squeaked. The same squeak it had made for 20 years. Some things never change. There was a knock on the door. I looked up. A man stood there, maybe 40, wearing khakis and a company polo. I recognized him. Derek. Senior developer. Good at his job. Better at politics. Grant, he said. Can I come in? Sure. He sat down, fidgeted with his hands. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For not standing up for you. When Trent fired you. I should have said something. Why didn't you? I was scared. Scared of losing my job. Scared of making waves. It was cowardly. I nodded. It was, but I appreciate the apology. Anything you need from me, just ask. I'm here to help. I'll remember that. He left. Over the next hour, 5 more people came by, all apologizing, all offering support, all trying to get on my good side now that I was in charge. I didn't trust any of them, not yet. Trust had to be earned, and they'd failed the first test. At 10, I called an all-hands meeting. Everyone in the company, from senior management to junior developers. I wanted to set the tone immediately. The conference room was packed, standing room only. People looked nervous, excited, curious. I stood at the front, looking at faces I'd known for years, faces I'd worked beside, faces that had watched me get fired and done nothing. "I'm not going to waste your time with pleasantries," I said. "You all know what happened. You know I was fired. You know I fought back. You know I won. What you don't know is what happens next." Silence. Everyone waited. Here's what happens next. We rebuild, not just the company, the culture, the way we treat each other, the way we work. Because what Trent built here wasn't a company, it was a dictatorship, and dictatorships don't last. Some people nodded, others looked uncomfortable. "I'm not Trent," I continued. "I'm not going to rule by fear. I'm not going to fire people for sport, but I'm also not going to tolerate laziness, disrespect, or backstabbing. If you work hard, if you're honest, if you treat your colleagues with dignity, you'll thrive here. If you don't, you won't." I paused. Let the words sink in. One more thing. I know some of you didn't stand up for me. I know some of you stayed silent. I'm not going to hold that against you, but I am going to remember it. And when it comes time for promotions, for raises, for opportunities, I'm going to remember who had courage and who didn't. The room shifted. People looked at each other, some with guilt, some with determination. "Any questions?" Derek raised his hand. "What about Trent's lawsuit?" "Let him sue. He'll lose." "What if he doesn't?" "He will. Next question." A woman in the back raised her hand. "Are you going to bring back the people Trent fired?" "Some of them, not all. I'll review each case individually. If someone was fired unfairly, they'll get their job back. If they were fired for cause, they won't." "How will you decide?" "By looking at the facts, not politics, not favoritism. Facts." The meeting ended. People filed out slowly, talking in low voices. I stayed behind, watching them go. Marla had come to watch from the back. She walked over when the room was empty. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Like I'm about to rebuild Rome while it's still burning." Rome wasn't built in a day. No, but it was destroyed in one. We went to lunch at a place nearby, quiet, private. I needed a break from the office, from the people, from the weight of responsibility. "Oliver called this morning," Marla said. I set down my fork. "What did he want?" "To know if you'd talk to him." "What did you say?" "I said I'd ask. That's all. I didn't promise anything." "I don't know if I'm ready." "I know. But he's trying. That has to count for something." "Does it? Or is he just trying because he needs something?" "I don't know, but maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe what matters is that he's trying at all." I thought about it, about Oliver, about forgiveness, about whether some things could be forgiven. "I'll think about it," I said. That afternoon, I met with the senior management team, 7 people, all Trent's hires, all looking at me like I might fire them at any moment. "Relax," I said. "I'm not firing anyone. Not today, anyway." A few nervous laughs. "But I am changing how we operate, starting with accountability. Every department will submit weekly reports, not to micromanage, to understand. If you're struggling, I need to know. If you're succeeding, I need to know. Transparency is key." "What about Trent's projects?" someone asked. A woman named Lisa, VP of Marketing. "Which projects?" "The rebrand, the expansion into Europe, the new product line." "Cancel the rebrand, pause the expansion, and the new product line needs a complete review. Trent was chasing growth for growth's sake. We're going to chase sustainability instead. That's going to upset investors." "Let them be upset. I'd rather have a healthy company than a bloated one. The meeting went on for 2 hours. By the end, I could tell some people respected the changes, others resented them. That was fine. I wasn't here to make friends. At 5, I went home. Marla had dinner ready. We ate in silence, both exhausted. "How was your first day as CEO?" she asked. "Exhausting. But good?" "I think so. Ask me again in a month." That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. Not great, but better. And that was something. The next few days fell into a rhythm. Morning meetings, afternoon reviews, evening planning. I was rebuilding the company from the ground up, one decision at a time. On Thursday, Patricia called. Trent's lawyer reached out. They want to settle. "How much?" "They're not asking for money. They're asking for a public apology. From you, for defamation." "No." "Grant." I said no. I didn't defame him. I told the truth. If he can't handle that, it's not my problem. He's going to push this to trial. Let him. I'll win. You sound confident. I am confident, because I'm right. She sighed. Okay. Your call. Friday afternoon, I was in my office when Amanda buzzed me. "Mr. Halden, there's someone here to see you. He says it's important." "Who?" "He wouldn't give his name. Just said you'd want to talk to him." I almost said no, but curiosity got the better of me. "Send him in." The door opened. A man walked in, tall, mid-40s, wearing a suit. I didn't recognize him. "Mr. Halden," he said. "My name is Richard Cross. I'm a private investigator." "Okay. I was hired by Trent Mallory to dig up dirt on you, to find anything that might help his lawsuit." I leaned back in my chair. "And did you?" "No, because there's nothing to find. You're clean, honest, boring even." "Thanks. I'm not here to compliment you. I'm here to warn you. Trent's not going to stop. He's going to keep digging, keep pushing, keep trying to destroy you. And if he can't do it legally, he'll do it illegally." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I don't like working for people who want to hurt innocent people, and because I think you should know what you're up against." He handed me a business card. "If you need help, call me. I have evidence, recordings, emails, things that would end Trent's lawsuit immediately." I looked at the card, then at him. "Why help me?" "Because it's the right thing to do." He left. I stared at the card for a long time. Then I called Patricia. "We need to talk," I said. "I just got some very interesting information." We met that night. I showed her the recordings, the emails, everything Richard had given me. She listened, made notes, smiled. "This is good," she said. "This is really good." "Good enough to end the lawsuit?" "Good enough to destroy Trent completely, if you want to use it." "Do I want to use it?" "That's up to you. But if you do, it's over. Trent goes away. Forever." I thought about it. About revenge. About justice. About consequences. "Use it," I said. "You're sure?" "I'm sure." The next week, Patricia filed a motion to dismiss Trent's lawsuit. Attached to the motion was every piece of evidence Richard had given us. Emails showing Trent had knowingly violated employment law. Recordings showing he'd planned to frame me. Documents showing he'd embezzled money from the company. It was devastating, complete, and it worked. The lawsuit was dismissed. Trent was charged with fraud. And Apex Technologies issued a public statement condemning his actions and apologizing for the harm he'd caused. I should have felt victorious, triumphant, but I just felt tired. Tired of fighting, tired of winning, tired of everything. That night, Marla found me on the back porch. "You okay?" "I don't know." "You won." "I know, but it doesn't feel like winning." "What does it feel like?" "Like I've been fighting so long that I forgot what peace feels like." She sat beside me, took my hand. "Then maybe it's time to stop fighting." "And do what?" "Live. Just live." I looked at her, at the woman who'd stood by me through everything, who'd helped me plan, who'd supported every decision, who'd never wavered. Okay, I said. Let's live.